All right, well, it is a minute after, so I'm going to go ahead and officially start our webinar for today. Again, if you've just joined in, welcome, glad to have you here. My name is Brian. I'll do a proper introduction here in just a moment, but welcome to our webinar for today on how to get referrals even in a tough market. And thank you to RE Technology for hosting this today. We are really excited to be working together with all parties involved and make sure that we're able to provide you guys with a worthwhile and educational webinar session for today. So again, big shout out to RE Technology. Thanks for letting us be here. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Just want to make sure we touch base on a couple of housekeeping items before we officially start. So for anyone that wants to rewatch today's webinar, or if you know anyone that would maybe benefit but wasn't able to make it today, no worries, we will be sending out this recording after we end today's call. So you will get a recording of today's session. And most importantly, we are wanting this to be, an engaging conversation. I don't want to do all the talking here. So please don't hesitate to ask us any questions as we go through. We do want to be mindful of our time. So if we don't get to the Q&A session fully at the end of today's call, don't worry, we'll be able to answer them one-on-one with you after the call. But again, any questions that you have, drop them in the chat and we will save those questions for the end of today's session where we can address those for you. Okay, so housekeeping items out of the way. Now I think some formal introductions are necessary. So again, welcome everyone that's just joining in. My name is Brian Bolton. I'm here at OutboundEngine based in Austin, Texas. Here at OutboundEngine, I am the customer experience team lead. Essentially, my role is to support all of our customer success managers. There are folks that really make sure that our OutboundEngine users are able to connect with our team, make sure that we're able to support them, make sure that they're getting the most value out of their OutboundEngine account. And again, support them and their businesses to make sure they're getting as many referrals and repeat business as possible from their past clients and their sphere of influence. So I'm really excited to be here today, show you guys a little bit more about what we do on a day-to-day basis. And also, I know I'm speaking to an all real estate agent audience. I myself have had my own time in the industry, both as an agent, as well as on different teams and supporting agents as well. So I definitely have been in your shoes. I know what it's like. So I hope I can rely on my past experiences and be able to share those with you all as well. So that's a little bit about me. Joining me today will also be my teammate, Owen. He will be joining us towards the end of our call, and he'll be able to demonstrate a little bit more about what exactly OutboundEngine does. You can learn a little bit more about our services and answer any questions that you might have about how OutboundEngine supports our real estate agent clients. So that's all about me. Again, if you haven't introduced yourself yet in the Zoom chat, please go ahead and do so. I'd love to know where you are in the world, maybe how long you've been in the business for, and anything that you're looking forward to covering on today's call. So feel free to drop that in the Zoom chat if you would like. All right, excellent. So moving on here, I just want to touch base on our agenda for the day. Let me go back, there we go, and my next slide here. All right, so just so we know exactly what we're going to be covering here for today. So this is our outline, what we're planning to discuss. So first, we'll go over the value of referrals, right? I think we're all here because we know that referrals are extremely important in our real estate business, but we'll go over some more facts that really support that statement and how they can really impact your business, and also maybe why you're not getting as many referrals as you'd like. Then we'll talk more about specific strategy, right? How to get more referrals. And we'll really focus on two key channels here, that being the email marketing and your online presence and credibility. Those two channels are extremely, extremely important, but they are approaches that take a little bit more time to develop. So that's why we also want to include 3 tips and tricks that you can start doing today to generate referrals. So we'll make sure to give you, that instant gratification, as well as give you an idea of what's a more long-term plan that you could implement to get more referrals in your business. And like I said, we will have that Q&A at the end. So please drop your questions in the chat as we go through here, and we'll get to those by the end of today's session. All right. So with that agenda all set and introductions out of the way, let's jump into it. All right, so let's talk all things referrals. Again, we want to first off just making sure we understand at a foundational level, what are referrals, why are they so important, and then moving into maybe why you're not getting as many in your business as you could be. So let's chat here. So as we all know, right, as real estate agents, more than just selling houses and representing your clients, right? As a real estate business owner, primarily you are in the business of relationships, right? And we know that your relationships don't live on their own, right? They need to be nurtured over time, right? To get any value out of your network. You can kind of think of it as planting the seed, right? You doing business with person is that first step of planting the seed. You're providing excellent customer service for them. But in order to nurture that relationship over time, for it to bear you good fruit, right? You need to nurture that relationship with water, soil, sunlight. And we'll talk about what the equivalent of that is in the real estate world, okay? Your network will refer you business if and only if two things, right? They are provided the excellent customer service that they deserve when they're buying or selling with you. But that's not enough, right? You can't just provide great service and then expect to get referrals. You also need to follow that up by correctly maintaining that relationship. So, right, it takes two to tango. You need to give good service and you need to maintain that relationship after the end of that sale, right? Again, I know you guys all know this, but we're making sure we cover the most foundational aspects of this conversation. A little bit of data to back this up here. We know that 92% of people trust referrals from the people that they know. And that's not just with real estate, right? That's across the board. I'm going to trust my cousin when he tells me, go see this movie. I'm going to trust my coworker when they say, hey, you should go eat this restaurant, right? Because I know that person, I'm more likely to accept that referral because I trust them. I have a relationship already established with them, right? And that's true on the other side as well. We know that people are 4 times more likely to buy when they are actually referred to a trustworthy small business. So again, that trust, we can't deny how important that is in order for the referral to be birthed and to be handed over to you, right? So with that understanding of why they're so important, we now need to understand, maybe as we're kind of, living in the present day moment, conditions are more and more uncertain as time goes on and on. We really probably need to prioritize, these really, number one, they're the best opportunities, but also the easiest opportunities to close, right? So if you're worried about increased competition in your market, if you're worried about leads drying up or not being the same quality as they used to be, then we all know that having a solid and predictable pipeline of referrals is going to be the best way to recession-proof, shift-proof, whatever your adjective is in front of proof. We want to get your business set up for success over the long term, right? So keeping that in mind, let's talk a little bit more here about the value of referrals, right? Again, as real estate agents, I know you all know this, right? To just reiterate what we discussed on our last slide, we know that referrals should be your bread and butter. I don't know any real estate agent out there that dreams of, owning a real estate business and having to chase down leads for the rest of their life, right? You do that in the beginning because you got to, set up your business. But I think almost everyone has the goal of eventually shifting their business to be predominantly based off referrals and word of mouth, right? So we know that's what we all want to be aiming towards. It's kind of like the nirvana status that we want to get to, right? I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Your time's much better spent on these, trust-based referral opportunities so that you have more time to focus on that and you have to spend less time on, again, chasing leads, dealing with people that aren't ready to commit, that you don't know, right? We know that 89% of real estate agents say, yes, referrals are the most successful marketing tactic that I have. We know that 70% of sellers would definitely use their agent again. But this is where the hard reality comes in, that only 25% of those sellers actually end up using that same agent again, whether it's to buy or sell in the future. So why does that happen? Why do we have such that strong drop off between 70% of people saying, yeah, my agent was cool, we worked well together, I'd probably use them again in the future. And then we drop, I'm not very good at math, 45 percentage points to, that drop off of people actually not committing to that. So Why is that the case? Why is your network not using you again? How many times have you, either seen someone online or driven by one of the homes that you've sold before, and you see that that person that you worked with, they chose to, work with someone else. I'm sure we've all been in that situation before. Again, whether you see that online or in person. I'll tell a quick story here. I will never forget. This was my first job working for a real estate team. I was like week one into working. I was in the car with the rainmaker, and he was driving me around, taking me to one of his listings. And we drove by a house, and he saw someone else's sign in the front yard. And I can't even begin to list out every four-letter word that that man used when he, reacted to that. So I'm sure many of us have been in that exact situation before, where you see someone else, moving on and working with a different agent, even though you had a great experience with them on the front end. No one's immune to this, right? It's all happened to us from time. But we all know, one time it hurts too much, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. Again, a little bit more information here about referrals, just so that we all have a good understanding of what we're talking about here. Again, we know that the majority of people are going to trust brand recommendations from friends, that consumers are more than likely to purchase based on social media referrals. Again, we need that mixture of, in person and online. And 84% of consumers reported that they always or sometimes take action based on personal recommendations. The numbers speak for themselves, right? So instead of chasing, hard to get leads or finding, new and fresh and hot and sexy marketing tactics, right? It's really important to just focus on the fundamentals. I'm not with Keller Williams, but if you've ever read Shift by Gary Keller, that's exactly what he. If you haven't read that book, I would recommend it, just to, get the basics out of it. But here, everyone knows the value of referrals. We all know that they're the most important thing that you can get to sustain your business even through tough times. And again, you're only going to consistently get referrals if you provide the great customer service up front, and if you stay top of mind with those folks, right? Because they're going to be distracted all day long by your competitors, by other opportunities. You really need to double down on being that default resource when anything related to your area of expertise comes up. And those conversations happen, people are talking about real estate at the bar, at kickball, at PTA meetings, right? Your name needs to be the first one that they think of when those conversations are happening. So when we live in a world where people are getting all of their information from online, we need to focus on that step first. So let's actually start talking about tactics here and how you can prosper in the online environment, right? So let's move on here. Again, we know that referrals don't just happen, right? Nothing's going to fall out of the sky. They sometimes do, but again, you're a smart business person. You're not here to just take it by chance. You need to have a system in place to reliably and repeatedly get those referrals and repeat business as well, right? So if you're doing a good job, we know that most people are going to be, more than happy to recommend you to their friends. But just because you're doing a great job doesn't mean those referrals are guaranteed, like we said, right? We're all human. People get busy. We lose out of touch. We forget contact information, and we just move on with our lives, right? So if you're not proactively working to continue your relationship with your past clients and stay in touch with them, then your referral business just isn't going to be as strong as it could be, right? So, those that work with OutboundEngine, they know exactly the importance of staying top of mind. And while we do all the marketing for you, it's still up to you to actually do the follow-up work, right? To source those we source the opportunities for you to do what you do best, which is to have those conversations, right, about real estate and what people's goals are with that. So with that in mind, let's actually take a look now at the 3 steps that it takes to get a referral. And again, we're just breaking down the basics here, right? So getting a referral requires 3 basic steps. Again, we've already talked about how nothing's going to happen. No referrals are going to come your way if you're not already providing excellent customer service, right? If I give you a 5 out of 10 experience, why would I, as the client, refer you to someone else, right? So I'm sure most of you are already going above and beyond for your clients, but if you know that you have a lot of room for improvement, I would encourage you to, prioritize that more than anything else, and then master that so you can generate more repeat and referral business down the line. So instead, let's focus there on that second step of staying connected with your network, right? Your clients need to be able to recall your name years after, even months after the end of the sale, right? So if it's been 5 years since they bought a home, they may not be able to easily remember your name, recall your information. And at this point, your business card's probably, if it's not in the trash, it might be at the bottom of a drawer somewhere, right? And if they can't remember you, how is it going to be possible for them to recommend their friends or ask for a recommendation of someone that they know in their neighborhood, right? So again, it's all about staying top of mind. And then once you've accomplished that, then it actually comes to taking action, right? That third step is that person that has your name or your business name as referral needs to take action in order to get in touch with you, right? So is that through your website? Is that by texting you? Is that by calling you? What methods are they going to contact you for that referral, right? So that's kind of, the bird's eye view of what we're talking about here. Again, step number one, that is fully in your control. And I hope that you've already reached a point in your business where you feel comfortable and confident in doing what you do, right? But steps 2 and 3, those won't happen automatically, right? You can put those steps more in your control though, with the right referral marketing strategy that again is going to help you stay top of mind. And perhaps you're someone who's listening to me and you're like, Brian, I do all this. I'm still not getting the referrals that I want. Okay, yeah, I believe you. You probably are doing these things, and there are other reasons why maybe you aren't getting, referrals sent over to you. So let's talk about that. You're doing everything right, but you're still not getting the results that you want. So let's break down the 4 reasons why maybe your clients just aren't sending you as many referrals as you wish they would be, even though you feel like you're doing all the things that we've already discussed. Providing great service, staying top of mind, making it easy for them to contact you. Option number 1, right? They're probably just busy, right? We all live our lives. We all have things that go on. And honestly, people aren't thinking about the real estate agent when they go to sleep at night, right? Years after the fact. So they're busy, they move on, and that's fine. That happens, right? But we want to figure out ways that we can try and mitigate that as much as possible. Number 2, why they're not sending you referrals. You're not staying top of mind, right? Let's see here. So it is a challenge, right? I'm not saying that it's easy to do, but it is important to do. So once your transaction is over, your clients, they're done with you, right? They've achieved the goal that they wanted to complete with you. They got the service that they need. They're moving on to the next thing, right? So how do you stay top of mind when you have to compete with a, constant stream of emails, texts, notifications, phone calls that are coming at everyone every day? It's not hard, right? We all know the expression, consistency is king, right? By regularly, for example, posting on social media, by regularly emailing your network, doing those steps is what's going to help you keep your name and business in their minds. Third reason maybe why you're not getting referrals already is you're being overly promotional, right? And what do we mean by that? Well, this isn't, what do I want to say? It's not a common problem, right? Being promotional is, of course, important to your business, but being too promotional is, kind of a quick way to lose followers and people become disinterested in you, right? So if you're constantly, what's the expression? If you're trying to drink out of a fire hose, right? When you're just getting onslaught with promotional content, at some point, folks are just going to be turned off by that, right? So if you've had, several new followers to your Facebook page or new subscribers to your email newsletters, and then that first communication that you send them is asking for a review or asking them to share your business, right? You're asking them to do too much from the beginning. You're jumping the gun. So allow enough time for your followers to engage with your content, get to know you, gain trust in your knowledge and your experience and expertise, and then learn more about you and your business so that they can start, so that you can ask them for favors and they'll actually follow through on that, right? So it's a fine line, but it's important to acknowledge that there is a line, right, that you don't want to cross there. And lastly, you're not asking for the referrals, right? Just do it, right? Is the expression that comes to mind here. It seems so basic, but oftentimes that's just what's missing in the business, right? Your clients, some of your clients will refer you just because they like you and they remember you. But again, we can't rely on that if we're really, looking at the goal of making my business recession or shift proof. Right? Some clients will remember you just because they really like you, but we can't rely on that. So making people think about writing a review, and they won't, think about writing a review or sending you a review until you ask them to do it. So that's crucial, right? That you have a process in place rather than, gee, I was thinking about that person the other day. I haven't talked to them in a while. Should I call? I don't want to seem too pushy. I don't know about y'all. I mean, I definitely had that, internal monologue whenever I was thinking about reaching out for referrals. So rather than relying on chance, having some sort of system or a process in place that will make you actually ask for it is what's most important. So speaking of that, let's actually now go into, well, Brian, how do I ask then, right? Like what words do I use? What approach do I take to actually ask for the referral? Well, before we get into that, we do just need to kind of recap here. What are the types of referrals that are out there, right? So word of mouth, online reviews, right? People see, hey, I wrote this review about my experience. That can kind of act as what we say as like a eternal referral, right? If I see on Google, someone gave you a 5-star, that's them kind of indirectly referring the rest of the public to work with you, if you think of it that way. Social recommendations, right? Someone sees on Facebook or any other social media platform that you're asking for referrals directly, or someone is asking for recommendations from their friends, right? Like, hey, does anyone know a good plumber? Anyone know a good builder, etc. And then, of course, email referrals, right? Those are required through people forwarding your emails to people that they know, or following your social links from your email signature, for example, to leave you a review. So those are all places where we see are the most common types of referrals. And if you haven't noticed, right, 3 of the 4 of those referral types are online, right? Obviously, online reviews, social recommendations, and email. So again, just to reiterate here, that's where your audience is 90% of the time, and why it's important for your business to have a strong online presence, because that's, again, where you're most likely to get your referrals from. So now that we know where those referrals are coming from and those different types, let's actually talk now about how to ask for them. Let's see here. All right, so how do you ask for referrals? Well, first of all, you got to ask yourself, is this the right time to ask, right? And a more specific question to ask is, has any value been provided and recognized by the client? This kind of speaks to that overly promotional conversation that we just had, right? If the client has yet to receive any value from you, the timing is not right yet, right? So asking before you've gone through escrow or through closing, right? Why would I pass you along a referral if I don't know that I was able to successfully get everything out of my realtor as possible, right? So if it's just if the transaction is just taken place, that might be a little bit too soon, right? Oftentimes clients, they need a little bit of time, a little bit of space to process everything that they've just been through, especially if it's a large transaction like buying a home, before they're willing to do any favors, right? And this conversation kind of parallels also when is the right time to ask for reviews. I know there's a lot of debate on like, well, I want to get that review right then and there, but they may not be ready to write that review yet. And the same is also true about this conversation on referrals, right? So asking for a referral immediately after a contract's been signed or the money's been exchanged, I don't know if that's necessarily the best time to ask. Sometimes people can see that as a turnoff after they've just had a really great experience with you. They think, oh, wow, this is so great. And then it gets spoiled by you, being too eager or too promotional, right? As we discussed before. So it is about reading the room. It's about knowing your clients. It's about knowing, kind of how to take social cues and all that. So step number 1, figure out when's the right time. I would say wait just a little bit, not too long, because you don't want to run the risk of them forgetting you, but right when it's hot and fresh off the pan, you're going to burn yourself. So that's step 1 about the timing. Step 2, make it easy, right? We don't need to complicate this for folks. When you make the ask, be sure that your call to action is clear, right? So for example, you could say something very straightforward. Please leave me a review on my Yelp page about working together, about our time working together, right? It's straightforward. It gives direction to your review or to your referral request, right? So ask clearly, right? Give simple instructions. Did you provide them a direct link where they can go to send you referrals, right? If you send them to Yelp and ask them to search your business name, that you're having them do extra steps that isn't necessary, right? And the more steps they have to take, they are more likely to lose interest in doing what you're asking them to do. Are there further instructions needed, right? Like, do you need to have them fill out a form? Do they have to confirm via email or sign up for an account? It's most beneficial when you tell them what to expect, right, up front, and any instructions that they need in order to successfully do what you're asking them to do. And then finally, did you clearly ask the customer what you want them to do, right? So give them a prompt, like include what it was like for us working together. That can be a really great little blurb that you can add in there to tell them what they need to help to write a review or to make a referral happen, right? So be patient, be thankful. Again, this is not going to be something that happens automatically every single time. Again, we're all human, we're all flawed, we're all going to make mistakes, and we discussed all those reasons before why they're not already sending you referrals. I'm definitely guilty of not responding to emails right away or missing calls, missing texts. So be patient, and if it takes a while or multiple times asking before the referral is made, that's okay. That's not a reflection on you. That's not a reflection on your business. That's just the human experience, right? And once it is, be sure to tell them, how thankful you are for the referral, right? Consider giving some sort of token of appreciation. If it's a thank you text, if it's a Starbucks gift card, reward them for doing what you asked them to do and incentivize them in that way. All right, so we talked about steps 1, about taking time, steps 2 on make it easy for them. Step 3, you just got to do it, right? I am definitely guilty of analysis paralysis, right? If you've heard that expression before of, oh God, have I done this the most effective way possible? Did I say this right? I'm guessing my words, I'm self-doubting. At the end of the day, right, you just gotta, what's the expression, get off the pot? Right, you just have to do it. You can play and plan all day long, but the most important thing is just taking action, right? Of course, you'll tweak your process, regardless of how much planning you do, right? Because once you've done it, you'll be able to say, I could have done that differently. I could have done this differently. So keep that in mind, so it doesn't become, a reason why you don't ask. Everyone is going to make changes and do things differently every time they do that. You're never going to have like a one and done process and then never change it, right? So give yourself the grace, give yourself the freedom to experiment, try things out, make mistakes so that you can learn how to be better in the future. Your future self will thank you for failing, right? The first time, and then learning and doing it better the next time. And once you start asking, you'll get into a groove of it, right? It's something that becomes muscle memory at some point, right? Or you do it enough where it becomes a solid, process or a system built into your business, right? So don't forget, right? Every business started out itty bitty small and had to grow, right, in order to get repeat customers and referrals. So thinking about those folks that are already doing a great job of getting referrals, what can we learn from them, right? What are some things that we can take away from the leaders in our industry? It's really these 3 things, right? They lay down a great foundation, right? Again, we want everything here between, educating prospects from the first time you talk with them to setting themselves up as experts, right? That you're sharing your knowledge with folks and you are laying down that foundation of, I'm a realtor, this is my job, and I'm good at it, right? And I know that I can provide the best service possible to my folks. Then they make sure that they promote that great service to the rest of the world, right? And again, this requires a balance of not spamming your network daily with asks or to have them buy something or share something, and making sure that you stay top of mind, right? So again, that fine-tuned balance of not overly promoting yourself. And then finally, again, it's all about nurturing those relationships, right? That is a long-term process, which again is why we want to make sure we focus on what strategies you can put in place to ride the test of time. And that's obviously, it can be the most difficult part, right, of this process, because it's happening while you're busy doing everything else, right? How many of us can admit that, asking for referrals, that typically falls to the bottom of my priority list while I'm focusing on the business I have to do right in front of me, right? Sourcing clients, closing deals, negotiating contracts, all that other stuff, right? But it's not, you can't compromise asking for referrals. That's a non-negotiable. You've got to be able to find a way to do what you need to do in the moment and take care of the other important aspect of your business. So one way to accomplish this and finding that balance is through, I would say a pretty tried and true method of communication, which is email marketing. So when we were talking earlier on our agenda about our different channels of asking for referrals, we're going to first talk about email marketing and what that looks like and how to use it. And then the second channel that we're going to talk about is social media and your online presence. So we're now really going to get into the juicy bits of how to leverage these two components so that you are getting the most out of your referral opportunities. So I know a lot of people are like, well, is email that effective? And yes, it is. It's even in 2022, right? It's still one of the most powerful channels for marketing your business and staying in touch with past clients so that they remember who you are, right? Even long after the finish of the sale and in between phases, right, of the buyer journey. Because it's all about maintaining that customer loyalty, right? So if you're not staying top of mind with them, they're going to go and find someone else that's, for lack of a better term, sexier, right, than coming to work with you. So, and again, this can be tough as your transaction has ended. It might feel like there are other deals to close and customers to help or find, but having an automated email marketing service, kind of like what OutboundEngine does, for example, can really help you stay top of mind while you're out there doing those other things that need to be done, right? Again, this is a long-term approach to engagement through email marketing, but this will help you stay top of mind and maintain your credibility. So some examples of what that might look like, right? For example, but those conversations are going to happen all over the place. Let's see, I think actually I want to go to my next slide here. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, we've already covered that. So let's talk about this one here. Okay, so pardon me for skipping slides. I just want to get to the good stuff here, right? So we know that email is what's going to help to build and grow your long-term relationships. It's extremely effective when it comes to branding yourself professionally, right? Give people a visual component of who you are and what you do. And keeps your past clients engaged, as well as, maybe a little bit entertained with good quality content that is relevant, industry specific, but also digestible, right? And as a result, you're going to reap those rewards of the increased loyalty, advocacy, right? Because they're going to want to share your stuff and to let people know to work with you. So also very effective to nurture the prospects and leads that you want to do business with in the future. And Rebecca, the email program that I suggested is OutboundEngine. You'll get a little demo of what that looks like here in about 10-ish more minutes. My teammate Owen will show you guys more about what OutboundEngine does with our email marketing. So please stay tuned for that. Okay. Using email to do personal check-ins, right? This is an example. Again, you will get a recording of this webinar. So if you want to use kind of our template here, you'll have access to that after the fact. But sending an email to help build rapport, right? And fuel that customer loyalty is really, really important. Obviously, if you're using templates or you're finding free resources online, make sure that it sounds like it's you speaking, right? That you do this with your own voice and your cadence of communication, expressing yourself. But at the end of the day, you want to give them no reason to click that unsubscribe button, right? So reaching out at the right time, keeping yourself top of mind when the right time arises for your services, having a template that is either proven to use or creating a new one for yourself is going to make it much easier to follow up and that ability to have that personal touch there. So again, if you're interested in this template that's on screen, we'll be sending you the recording later so you can take a look at that and digest it more in detail. So I'm going to move on here. Now, what type of content should you be sending out? I would really encourage you to focus on what is relevant and interesting for readers, regardless of where they are in the sales process with you, but don't make it sleazy, right? Again, we've talked about this. You can pitch yourself as the best real estate agent over and over and over again, but if you do it too much, people are going to ignore you, unsubscribe, unfollow, whatever else, right? So you have to provide that value outside of the times that you're providing them, real estate service, right? So not only am I going to help you buy or sell your home, but I'm going to maintain a consistent flow of relevant and helpful information, because that's the benefit of working with an agent like me, right? Even months, years after I've helped you buy your house or sell your house. So consistently sending interesting, relevant content, like kind of what you see here on screen. This is the kind of type of stuff that your contacts will appreciate receiving from you, whether they're looking to buy in 6 months or they're not in the market at all. You want to be able to have content that's general enough that folks will appreciate, find interesting, and be thankful that you sent them some, right? Doesn't mean that you should lose the opportunity to ask for a referral or to start a sales conversation, but that comes after the fact, once enough trust has been built up, right? We know that research shows that valuable content is just as important as timing when it comes to building that trust. So when are you getting in a relationship with them and what are you providing them? That all matters just the same. Okay, so that's email marketing. We can definitely talk more about that when we get into our demo here in just a little bit. I want to keep moving forward and talk about how social media is another really key channel to make sure you're staying top of mind with folks so that you're getting those referrals down the line. So stay in touch via social media, right? It can't just be funny cat videos or, inconsistent posting, right? Using social media is an art and a science, right? So we're going to break it down here a little bit. Again, we don't want to complicate it, but we want to clarify it. That's my goal here. So we know that people are spending more time than ever online, and social media is becoming, more and more important when it comes to being remembered by others. So really here, it's your opportunity to be present where they are spending most of their free time, right? The content strategy that we just discussed works great for social media as well as email, right? That it's interesting, relevant, digestible, general enough where anyone could, find it useful. That's what's going to get you more engagement and more impressions and help you stay top of mind, rather than just constantly sending out the same, hey, new market report, average home prices, da-da-da. People get tired of numbers at some point, right? They want stuff that's relevant to them and to their day-to-day lives. And every time that someone, is going to like your post or share it on Facebook, right? That means that that's going to then be potentially seen by their network of friends. So not just your friends, but you want to be able to provide them content that they're ready and willing to share to their network too, right? And we'll talk more about an example of that here in just a second. So when it comes to social media, not only is the content important, as we just discussed, but building and maintaining your online credibility is also crucial, right? Reflect on your own personal experiences for a second here, right? How many times have you gone to a website, looked up something on Google, and you couldn't find the information that you wanted to, or you found conflicting information or not enough information, and then you just gave up, right? You gave up on, pursuing what it was that you were looking for. It was just too hard to find it, or you got a iffy feeling about, what you saw. People have the same feeling and same experience when they're looking for real estate agents or when they're trying to look up your information in particular, right? So your online reputation is absolutely crucial. I cannot, overexpress that. So if someone Googles you and you don't look professional, you don't have enough information, and there's conflicting information, right? People are going to take a step back. They're going to have that doubt set in, and they're not going to feel confident about reaching out to you, right? And this is even true not just for prospective clients, of course, but also for people that you do know, right? If it's been a couple of years since I did business with you, I'm the client, you're the realtor, and I try finding you again, like, oh, what was that guy's name? I tried Googling you with as much info that I have, your phone number, but you changed phone numbers. Well, he was with Keller Williams. Well, he's with Remax now. This was his email address. Well, it was a KW address, and now he uses a Remax address, right? Having your online reputation with the most correct and up-to-date information is, again, I feel like I'm being a dead horse, but you cannot underestimate how crucial that is to have your information out there, right? That's trustworthy, consistent, and easy to find. So how do we face that challenge of correcting our information? Well, there are a couple ways that we can help support that, right? Your reviews actually do a lot of work of supporting you and your credibility, right? When people look up your information and they see, hey, this is, John's contact information, and they also see your reviews. Again, I like to think of reviews as eternal referrals, right? That someone that has done business with you can vouch, in fact, that you are legit. You did a great job of providing service for them. They were willing to take the time out of their day to write a review for you. That's going to make such a strong and powerful and positive first impression for anyone else that's looking up your information, right? And it's not just the quality of your reviews, but also quantity too, right? You need to have enough of them so people can feel like, oh, okay, it wasn't just, his mom that wrote a great review. That's awesome. But what about all the other clients that he's worked with before, right? And I'll say this too, given, the world that we live in. I've worked with folks who they haven't had a review written by their clients since, pre-COVID-19, the pandemic. And you have to think about what that looks like on the other side of the screen, right? If I'm looking you up and I see you haven't gotten any reviews since before, 2020, yikes, I'm going to think that maybe COVID took your business out or that you're no longer in business, right? So think about that. Like, what is the impression that other people are going to have on your business when they look you up? That is more important than anything else. So that's what reviews can really do for you. Of course, having a dedicated website, I shouldn't even have to say that. If you don't have a website that's set up, that's up to date, that's easy for you to respond to leads coming through, that doesn't paint you as a professional, right? Definitely consider getting some assistance with that. Again, that's something that OutboundEngine customers get as part of our, sort of all-encompassing marketing software and what we provide. So if you're interested in getting a better website or one that is more reliable, you can definitely learn more about OutboundEngine from Owen here in just a second. So we're going to start to wrap things up here in just a moment. Again, what we've talked about so far is why referrals are as important as they are. We've talked about how why people maybe aren't sending you referrals currently. And then we went into talking about the two ways where you can kind of focus your efforts to get more reviews over the long term through email marketing, and then also through social media, through your online presence, right? Again, I discussed at the beginning, those are long-term approaches. I want to give you 3 very quick and easy tips that you can use right now in order to get more referrals. And then I'm going to pass it over to Owen. So if you're looking for the quick tips and tricks, perk up your ears. This is where that information is coming to you. I'm going to go through it here relatively quickly. So again, 3 tips that you can do right now to start getting more referrals that will help you out. Number 1, I would encourage you to update your email signature, right? You probably already have an email signature with all of your contact information, but add in something there about asking for referrals, right? And provide them some sort of incentive as well, right? I'm not encouraging you to, write something like this about offering a discount necessarily. You deserve every bit of your commission that you get, but provide them something that they might benefit from if they pass you a referral, right? Or encourage them to do so. So putting that in your email signature would be a really great way to just make it, again, clear and easy and accessible for folks to pass along referrals to you when you're already in communication with them and when you're already thinking about them, right? So that's easy step number one. Easy step number two, make sure that you are in fact connecting with your past clients on social media, right? And if you're looking at the screen right now, you see kind of the example here of James and Judy. And I just want to kind of give you an idea of what this means here, right? So, maybe James doesn't have the most number of friends or connections between Facebook and LinkedIn, but he posts regularly, right? If you go through his timeline, you see he posts maybe once a month, once a week, whatever else. Whereas Judy, on the other hand, she has tons of friends, tons of connections, but she's not as active. One thing that you could do here to kind of get the best of both worlds, or I should say maybe kill two birds with one stone, is if you were to reach out to Judy and James, maybe give them some sort of deal, like, hey, let's say that you're not a real estate agent, you're a hairstylist, for example, right? You're writing a referral deal for every person that shares your deal. They get entered in to win, a free product or service from you. Even if you're only connected to these two, James and Judy fictional clients here, you get to combine their networks together, right? And have the potential to get your business in front of all of their friends plus more, right? So think of ways that you can, consider connecting with them through social media. Give them a chance to post, something that is meaningful about you and your business, right? Send them a wow gift, something that you think they would like to post about. Have them tag you, have them mention you, right? Keeping people engaged like this is going to help you get referrals from their networks as well. Okay. And third and final thing, when we're talking about your online reputation, go Google yourself, right? Does your correct name show up? Does your correct information show up? I hope it does, but sometimes you need to monitor that, especially if you've moved, if you've changed brokerages, if you stepped out of the business and now you're back, if you've, joined a team, you're working by yourself, right? Figure out when someone wants to look you up, what is it that they're seeing? You can see that exact same picture by Googling yourself, right? So make sure your info is correct everywhere, or else referrals are not going to know where to go to connect with you, right? Do you have a Google My Business page? Do you have a Yahoo page? Are you on Yelp? Are you on Zillow, right? Make sure that people are able to find these relevant sites where you and your business can be found easily, right? We all know the internet is sort of mysterious in how it works. So do yourself a favor, put in that little bit of effort to make it easier to find people, easier for people to find you on Google, regardless if they've heard of these websites or not, right? To provide them the best, most relevant information for you and your business, right? So that reliability is absolutely crucial. So those are my 3 tips and tricks for today and everything that we've covered. Again, I'm really glad that we were able to take this time to focus on, the value of referrals, why they should be the gold standard, even when our market conditions seem to be becoming more and more uncertain as time goes on. I hope that this inspires you to, create or solidify your referral pipeline with different strategies and approaches. And again, make sure that you are following those tips and tricks that we discussed on staying top of mind, using email marketing, improving your online credibility so that everyone can access you and give you those referrals that you deserve, right? So at this point, I am going to pass the mic over to my teammate, Owen. He also works here at OutboundEngine. Owen's going to discuss a little bit more about what OutboundEngine does to meet all of those things that we discussed today in order to help get more referrals. So I'm now going to stop sharing my screen, and Owen, I'm going to let you take it away, okay?
Thank you so much, Brian. What we're going to be going through is some solutions to many of the issues that Brian was going through. So what I always like to kick it off with is I kind of pick on some of the attendees. I think it makes a little bit more fun with this. So like he was talking about, your digital footprint is very important. So I went through some of the lists Googled Lynn here, I Googled Terry, I Googled Sue, Googled John. And looking through all of these, as you can see, most of them don't actually include a whole ton of information about their real estate business. So what we would really want to begin with is we want to start to set up a digital footprint for you. So we'll build out all of your social pages, we'll set up all of your review sites, we'll make sure that everything is driving over to your website. A good example of what we would end all want is more like this, where just off of a name search, everything top to bottom on the page is all of the real estate information. And there are tons of positive 5-star reviews on all of the different sites. So the way we would really want to do that is getting you listed onto 72 different search engines. So Gina, since you had been in the chat, I decided to pick on you a little bit. So what we would do is take your information and we would see how you were listed currently. So right now it looks like Gina is with Remax. Looks like we don't have a business Facebook pulling up, and we are missing her on a large number of search engines. So after we set up all of your pages, we would get them listed onto the different search engines. And then we have an integration in our system with Yelp, Zillow, Google Business, and Business Facebook, in order to make it very easy for your clients to leave you reviews on all of the separate sites in the form of a 5-star rating. So that's your digital footprints. Moving on from that, what we really want to begin with is marketing out to your network. So we'll start out with your current clients, your past clients, prospects, referral partners, centers of influence. We want to keep in front of them, but also start to promote you out in front of their friends, family, and coworkers for your referral business. With OutboundEngine, we do provide a CRM, which we can put all of your email contacts in your database into. We create 2 marketing campaigns a month. Each one would consist of a branded newsletter, which introduces the topic of content. Then we would follow that content up, posting about it every 2 to 3 days across all of your social pages. And with this, it's basically what Brian said in the presentation. We need to make sure you're keeping in front of any potential consumer or referral partner on a continuous basis. We want to educate them with good quality content that isn't salesy. That way, if somebody needs, we can include calls to action so they can send you referrals. They can look through your MLS, your IDX. They can write a review for you. All without you yourself actually having to create or send it out. We want this all to be automated. We would also be handling all of your holiday cards to keep you in touch with clients at those specific times of year. And we do specialize the content based on the type of real estate that you work with. For the social media aspect, we do create content roughly every 2 to 3 days based on what is trending at a particular time. That way it is valuable information. And if somebody does click through the content, we'll send them over to a gated landing page. That way we can convert people to contacts that you yourself could actually follow up with. Also, all of the landing pages include a live monitored chat feature. That way, whether it's 2 a.m. in the morning or 11 p.m. on a Sunday, anybody coming on can be individually greeted. We can find out what they're looking for and to get that person their information over to you. For all of this, everything is done through an easy to use app that is connected on your phone as well as on your desktop. So this is where you'll be able to see moment to moment all of the content and marketing that's going out for you. You can keep track of your engagement statistics, your analytics. You can see the campaigns as they're going. But end all, we're just trying to get you in front of somebody that is interested. So you'll be able to directly respond, whether that is through your computer, or you can also directly respond through the app to get in front of somebody. And we'll take that person's information, we'll add it to the CRM, and we'll make sure we're tracking everybody in your network so you can see where your warmest opportunities are. Really, the 2 things that you yourself have to do with OutboundEngine is you have to pay us for providing all of the services, all of your automated marketing, content creation, and delivery. And then you yourself do have to respond to interested clientele. There's a number of other services that we do offer, but we're running a little bit low on time. What I'm going to do is put in a link where individuals can schedule a one-on-one presentation. That way we'll be able to go through your individual, digital footprint and the products. The pricing is available on our website. It does range anywhere from $199 a month up to $499. And people who do schedule time from this webinar do get a price break on that. So I'm going to put that link into the chat. And then just because we only have 5 minutes left, let's open it up to a question and answer session. So we'll be able to answer any questions that you guys had throughout the presentation. Brian, do you want to hop back on real quick?
Sure, yeah. So I'm looking at the chat here, not seeing too many questions at this point. Again, Owen will be putting into the chat here in just a moment the link where you can connect with him and get more information about OutboundEngine. If you do have any questions on anything that we discussed here, get real granular with me, anything else that we mentioned on today's call, please drop us a question. We'd love to answer that for you. Make sure you feel confident about leaving today's call. Otherwise, I think that's it for today. Yes, we got the schedule there, so you can get a one-on-one demo with Owen. You can click the link there to do that. And again, if you have any remaining questions, let us know. We're here to answer any and all questions.
Actually, it looks like Anne-Marie Grimes had raised her hand. Did you have a question, Anne? Or Anne-Marie, I should say.
And if you do, please write it in the chat. You should be able to click on that from your Zoom in the bottom banner there. Owen, while we're waiting for questions, do you want to talk about our referral campaign just real quick? I think maybe that was one thing we wanted to touch base on.
Sure. So like Brian was talking about, you do want to make sure you are providing value to your clientele. So 4 times a year, we will send out a sweepstakes for you via both email and social media. It's going to directly ask everybody in your network when they will need to talk to you about your services over the next 6 months. It will incentivize them with a $500 prize that we supply for you. And then it will ask all of those people if they have any referrals. And with this, I mean, it's really just statistics. The larger database that you have, we'll survey them 4 times a year. We'll find anybody right now that wants to talk to you or has a referral, in which case, like everything, it'll just pop right up to the app so you can reach out. But also, I mean, we are talking about buying or selling a house. It might be 2 months, 4 months, 6 months before they're actually ready for that conversation. So we'll let you know when you should reach out over the next 6 months. You have a pipeline to work. And then we'll also be continually marketing to that those clients over that time period. So it's a nice way to keep your contact list validated, i.e. if they got married, changed their last name, got a new phone number, new email, and also allows you to directly ask for referrals while providing something back in the terms of the prize. Excellent. We have 2 schedules. Excellent. Margaret, let me put that in the chat. So I'm going to put the website that looks like you're asking for directly into the chat.
Awesome. All right, we do want to be mindful of everyone's time here, so we'll take 1 or 2 more minutes to stay on the call. Again, if you have any remaining questions, please drop those in the chat so we can address those one-on-one with you. If you're interested in learning more about OutboundEngine, again, you can go to our website or schedule a one-on-one with Owen. Those are also included in the chat there. And again, big shout out to RT Technology for allowing us the time to speak with you guys today. We do appreciate it very, very much. And we look forward to talking with you again sometime soon, hopefully.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for the time and the attention, and hopefully we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.